Ho ho, four times the charm. Um, don't know what's wrong with YouTube. It might glitch the stream. I don't know. There's probably hundreds of streams at this moment because I've tried 3 or 4 times. Don't know why it wouldn't let me go live. I had this problem before, but not as bad. So I don't know. There's a new YouTube update maybe because I think that's what caused the other one. Was the new YouTube update at that time, and it kind of fucked it in the end, of course. But how are we doing? I hope everybody's well. Apart from that, I just might have to trick around for a second and stuff. Hopefully, there's not a 5 million streams just gone up. Again, apologies. It is a nuisance when this kind of thing happens. So I should just walk. It's unfortunate that these things do happen. It is a sad state of affairs. Okay, there is one scheduled. Lucky I locked. How do I delete this again? So long since I deleted the thing on. None of that. Where would it be? Well, I've literally every day has for one comments on. Oh yeah. Old man, oh, must be up here. Yeah, I'm dumb. Yeah. Hopefully this doesn't delete the live stream now. But that should be fine. Apologies, everyone. Again, it's the fact of the matter. It went up 3 or 4 times. Give me a moment, just to make sure people can hear me and all that, because we are having some issues tonight. Just delete that. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, there was apparently 2 stream. Hello there, John, thank you for comment. And just so I knew everything's fine, there was a bit of an issue with YouTube. It wouldn't go live for 3 or 4 minutes there. So I don't know what the issue was there. It might have been a YouTube updating. But basically, really screwed me up there for a few minutes. But how are we doing anyway? Nonetheless, I hope we're well. Apart from the issues and stuff happening at the moment. But no, back on my relaxed music. I think we're fine now. It should be fine now. The stream's still here, and I just need to double check. Can I click on it and stuff? Because I might have deleted this stream by mistake. Because there was a few scheduled because the YouTube system just wasn't working. It wasn't registering that I was live, etc., etc. I had this problem before, but just to make sure, me to click. Yeah, I can see myself, which is good, and that's up there. That's very good too. Why is the drafts? Since when has there been drafts? That's the first I've heard of it. Yeah, it's hit or miss, to be honest. That's just the way it really is at the moment. Like, it is 50-50 if you ever do get it or not. Just came across the live stream by accident. It's a good accident, isn't it? Yeah, that's dumbfounded me now. There's such a thing as a draft on YouTube. I never heard of the like in my life. Don't know. It's acting very weird on YouTube today. Don't know what's that issue, but we'll walk through it. Hello, Gordon. You got the notification. It's not really the notification was the issue. It's going live was the issue today. Like, it wouldn't register that I was live, but basically, I don't know. It's weird. I think YouTube's walking away because there's such a thing as drafts now, apparently, on videos. So I don't know what that is, but I have to look into that. But they shouldn't really in the draft. It's kind of just want to check and make sure everything's fine. Yeah. So yeah, apologies about that. Again, a lot of complaining about tech issues. It's a nuisance. These things happen from time to time. Usually, the majority of the time, things go without a hitch, and everything's dandy. I probably nearly should put on the light. No, I suppose it's too bright yet. Yeah, shit to do and I'm too lazy. Yeah, I feel you on that one. But we'll chip away at it. That's what I would say. Chip away at it bit by bit. Do a bit every few minutes or an hour, and then take a bit of a breathe and relax, and have a cup of tea. Whichever, whatever suits. It makes it a lot easier. That's what I find it on. That you chip a bit of it and then take a break, take a long breathe, and then go back to it. It takes time to get through it, obviously, but then it's better. Can I whistle and snap you? Not, I never tried, but I presume not. I'm no good at whistling. First of all, I can't really. I've heard people snap their fingers before. I can't make a sound at all with my fingers. I've seen teachers in school do it like that, but no, I wouldn't be able to do it. So yeah, we have a few things to talk about. It was a good morning here. Then it just rained majority of the day. Well, not the majority of the day. It rained and bucketed down for a few hours. At the moment, it's not bad, but early on it wasn't great. I might have to turn this down. It might be a bit too loud, I presume. Yeah, that's fine. When does it rain? Yeah, that's a good question. It doesn't stop when. Like it's supposed to be. We'll talk about it. We actually have to talk about a bit of the weather in a while too. So I suppose we start. Sure, why not? Just to see if everything else is working. So we'll not be too long, and it won't be 2 hours tonight, definitely. Actually, this is a lot more fluent for some reason. So basically, one part of YouTube wasn't working. This is a lot more fluent today, for whatever reason. Who knows? But it's working. It actually is working great. I can see it here. It's working actually fine. So I presume it's maybe a good YouTube update that fucked something up. That's what I presume. Let's see. So yeah, be only about an hour tonight now. It won't be long. I'm a bit tired of myself now today, to be totally honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you, so I don't have really much energy to stream for 4 or 5 hours or 3 hours. Usually nowadays, nearly 3 hours we're live. But I don't think there's that much. Like it's basically really odd up here, really whatever I want to talk about. There's a few other stuff. There's obviously other stuff, but we get to it. I suppose I'm looking into a few other things in the background, as I usually am, trying to find out more information, etc., etc. So I suppose we start. Let me see, where should we start? I suppose, where is this? Where the fuck? Did I? I must have. Hello, Fiona. We have a lot to talk about that treat the other day. I have to address that elephant in the room. Give me a moment, actually. Actually, no. I'm sure people have seen it. Like, I'm sure you know about it already. Basically, this was €350,000. So, yeah. So the government, in the infinite wisdom, Eamon Ryan, I say, to be totally honest, they spent €350,000 for 16 bike racks. Or 18 bike racks, may I say. So this basically cost €350,000. Probably more, maybe too. We probably only hold half of the cost. So probably maybe €500,000 to do this. And it's not even a shed. It's just a bike stand. Now, I don't know what they were smoking or who was smoking something. But let's be fair, nobody will ever be held accountable. and it'll be all forgiven and forgotten about. So basically, nothing ever be done about it. But long story short, if this is 350,000 euro, then I wouldn't want to see, a big project. Because literally, for that literally amount of money, just to take, for example, in Cork at the moment, there's a house, this house here. So really much a bog standard Irish house. Maybe three bedrooms, yeah, 3 bedrooms. Really a bog standard, attached house, basically, in a council estate or whatever. So they're looking for 320,000. So keep that in mind. A whole house with a backyard, a big enough backyard, and a living room, a sitting room, all that, and a shed too at the back. Keep that in mind. 350,000 euro. 320,000 euro. Think about this. Think logically for a second. Like, you can literally build a brick and mortar house and buy a house at that price. Now, good luck if you could afford it, first of all. You have to win the lotto. But long story short, this is 350,000 euro worth. Like, I keep having to go do this because, it's astonishing, it really is astonishing that they can actually sit there and say, we did this. This is great. It's quite befuddling. Hello, everyone. But I never seen the like, because literal house, and the literally of this. Not to mention, again, this is a long list of things like the National Children's Hospital, billions of euro over budget. They said it would be 400 something million. I know, I don't know how we ended up here, but it's 300 something billion. So we went from 400 something million before they started that would cost. It would be 400 something million, 500 something million at the most. And now we're at 300 something billion, So the most expensive children's hospital in the world. I don't know how they managed to do it, but, they've done it. And it's probably, and wise, and just to say it's not that yet. It's going to be more, probably 6 billion, excuse me. And who knows with this? We're probably only hearing half the story. This was probably half a million euro or something like that. Like, it was probably 500,000 euro, to do this for 18 bikes. Just to say, like, I thought when I first thought about this was a big, huge thing, like a shed. I thought it was a huge bike shed that you could put in security guard on the door. There 24 hours days looking after him and Ryan's bike, etc., etc. But literally none of that. Like, it's, if this is 350,000 euro. I don't know what to tell you, but if this is 350,000, I'm going to show you something that's going to blow your mind for a second. Like, a bike, like, I've never seen the like of it. Don't get me started on the point though, that they had to literally knock down all the walls in the country to get in, and then when they got it in, they didn't know how to use it, and then they had to train the staff. So millions of euros spent on that, and they probably still don't use it. I don't know about a shed. You can ask the government, because apparently there's no money for everything else, but there's money for a shed. Well, not even a shed. I don't even know. I wouldn't even give it the satisfaction of calling it a shed. And that's a shed. I wouldn't, like, you literally can get sheds. There was somebody. There was a company online. I try and get in now. And a company that does these kind of contracts and stuff like that. So this engineering crowd, just to say. Like, they put up. Oh no, it's very fast. Like, they generally, whoever should, like, Fana's probably to blame too, because she's very quiet, along with him and Ryan, because I say the two of them together come up with this. So this crowd, these are not the people who done it. They done a similar bike shelter, and now look at this. This is an only bike shelter in some part of Cork, basically with a roof over it. And look at the amount of bike racks here. You can put your bike on. Now, not to say, they might not be there. The whole bike racks and the bike itself might be gone, because people literally take the whole lot. So this is the door, Cal. This is the 350,000 euro. And this one in Cork, it only cost 19,000. This only cost 19,000. And this cost 350,000. Like, when you think about that, when you compare one to the other, I hate to say it, Chief, but I think people we've been scammed, to put it nicely, because if this only costs 220,000, which is pretty good. In fairness, it's pretty good for like a two attached roof for each side, loads of bars, etc., etc. compared to this, you know, where there's literally only one roof going one way. Like there's no two roofs. So I don't know about that one, Chief, but that's literally from a company itself. So not the company itself, but that done it. But this is another company. So if they got this company, it would have been a quite difference in 19,000 compared to this figure. I don't know who in the name of God came up with that. Like the Office of Public Works saying this was a sensitive area. If this is a sensitive area, I don't know what my hole is. But excuse my language for that one. But um, you know, yeah, like if you look for money for anything, I said about there was a community scheme, etc. So they were looking for lawnmowers and new streamers, etc. They were looking for about €2,000 for new lawnmower and strimmer, and they do them a while. And I was told when I looked for it, because again they're doing community work and stuff, and it needs to be done. The grass needs to be cut, etc., etc., and corners, etc. It needs to be done. It's something that can't be ignored or just left there. And I was told there was no money for it. There's no money. There's no money. So it was that there was nothing done about it because there was no money, and there was only €2,000. There was no money for that. It's the same with many things around cavan. If you ask about it, there's no money. And then all of a sudden, when the councillors need the expenses, etc., etc., and the TDs need the expenses, there's money for that, but there's no money for anything else. And then you see there's money for this. I don't know what they told, the same thing as I've been told many times over, that there's no money for this, there's no money for that, there's no money for this, because I'm hearing this constantly. And then there's money for everything else, but, for community projects. There's money for every person that turns up for Timbuktu off a plane with no passport, but there's no money for anything else. Look, it's a sad state of affairs. I don't even know what to make of it. Like you seen that one day outtake, for example, in Cork, that company done for 20,000, which is a quite difference. In fairness, if it was 20,000, so be it. It's better than what the 300 and something there. Like it's a long difference from €20,000, and the other one actually looks quite decent because you could probably fit maybe 50 bikes there. Obviously, they might not be there when you come back, but long story short, it's a lot more bikes. You're getting more bang for your buck for 20,000 than the roof and everything. It's a lot better compared to the. I don't know how. Like somebody has to justify how, in the name of God, they came up with this number and how they done it, because it's generally it looks like something at the €2 shop, basically. To be totally honest. So either somebody's pocket, like we all know who this construction crowd is. It's some Fianna Fáil, Fianna Gael person that's over it. He's a big stake in fees, a big donor to Fianna Fáil, etc., etc. And a few bob for a good friend in this construction company, um, you know, helping our friends out, like it's generally whoever signed off on the willie, and if this was a perfect world, should be going to prison for negligence for a few years to be able to answer this stage, because it is negligence at the highest level. But again, they're known for doing this. Like look at the National Children's Hospital. If that's it's the most expensive children's hospital in the world, And the funniest thing, it'll barely be open 5 minutes, right? And I bet you any money, there'll be cracks in the walls. There'll be probably walls falling down. Like we all know what's going to happen because it'll be the most shittiest quality material ever used. And not to mention, they won't have any nurses to put into the hospital because all of them have left to go to Australia. So there'll be no nurses to look after the children in the children's hospital. So this is what's going to happen, and they have to close the children's hospital because they can't get nurses. Like that's what's going to happen after spending 300 billion euro on it. And counting, just to say it's keep going. It's not 300 billion yet. Well, it is 300 billion. We know that for a fact. So at the end of the day, it might be 10 billion. So, but it just works. As Todd Howard just says, it just works. That's what basically the government has said. It just works. There's no need to explain. It just works. That son is literally like look at that. Like literally, as soon as I move myself, you literally get flashbanged. But yeah, I don't know about this one, Chief. But so a few more things to talk about. But yeah, I generally don't really know what to tell you. But long story short, they're well known for doing this. And be different again, as I said in my video the other day. If they took it out of their own pocket, if Fianna Fáil and Fianna Gael, like the TDs, had to take, really at the end of the day, what should be happening now is each TD gets 5,000 take out of their bank account to fund the taxpayer. But that won't happen. Let's put it that way. Like each one of them is responsible for this. Like so, they should be taking it out and paying for themselves, and the taxpayer should be refunded. But no, that won't happen. So I talked about this many, many times over. and they're probably sick in the head listening to me. So this protest in Cavan. So after at this stage 3 weeks, you're probably wondering, has anything been done? The answer is no. So only two kids basically. Um, 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 yeah, so basically only two kids out of this situation tickets. So long story short, nothing has changed. We're nearly a month in at this stage. No, not a month in, but a few in. And to be totally honest, nothing has changed. Normal Foley still has her head stuck in the sand. Bussell's still being incompetent fuckers. To be totally honest, really what's new. But long story short, it's there's no money for this. There's no money to, like, as I said to you before, there's no money to pay these bus drivers, because if they paid the bus drivers well, and it's a huge responsibility too, having to look after loads of children, etc. It's a huge responsibility. If they paid the bus drivers well, the school bus drivers, they give them a decent wage, people would want to do it, etc., etc. They wouldn't have a problem with good bus drivers. And first of all, if they didn't say, like before last year, the big issue was they didn't have the money to buy new buses to put on the road, etc., etc., because some of the buses were retired. And that was the issue. So there was no money for that, for the children to get to school. But there's money for everything else, basically, that the government wants. But there's no money for this. These parents have to go out and work, have lives, have jobs, who pay their taxes, etc., etc. And these people have to go through hell to try and get their children a bus ticket. It's not very fair. But, democracy. I don't really know what to tell you about that one. But yeah, so some other sad news. So the homeless figures in Cavan and Mullen are always kind of been between 25 to 30. Now, it is high, but thankfully, like the majority of people in Cavan I can speak, you can't really speak for in Monaghan exactly. Um, what's the situation there, obviously. But from what I can gather in the town, the majority of people who are technically homeless are in accommodation. The council are paying for accommodation for them to keep them off the street. Now, there is, as I said to you before, there is fake beggars, of course. They are in the big cars at the end of the day. They pull up for them and look to take them away, whisk them away into some big house. But I'm not generally aware of anybody that's actually homeless on the street. Like the majority of these people in Cavan, particularly, I can't say it for certain how many exactly in Cavan, but the majority of people in Cavan do are in emergency accommodation. If that makes sense, that's the word to describe it. But obviously, it's very worrying, especially in the rural county, to see in two counties to see this figure climb. Because it is climbing back. When I was growing up, 20 years ago, even 15 probably years ago, and I was very young, probably 6 or 7 at the most. There was no such thing as any homeless people basically in Cavan. It wasn't a thing. It wasn't an issue. And it's unfortunate now. This is an issue, unfortunately. And the fact of the matter is, the sad reality of it is, it's only going to get worse. And I think everybody realizes that it's only going to get up. Like in a few years' time, I could be sitting here and saying it's 100, and that's really the way it's going. Unfortunately, it's generally the way it's going. It's a sad reality. Yeah, they aren't like the school bus drivers aren't poor money, because obviously they're not like a CIE bus driver, like the Dublin buses or anything like that, because they only go in the evening. They only go. What I'm trying to say, they go in the morning. So obviously they go and pick up the kids in the morning from school, and then in the evening times at home. So basically, they're not doing a full day. Basically, it's only about maybe 4 hours a day, maybe give or take, to get paid for them 4 hours. They don't be getting paid the full, like for a full day. Like take for example, Dublin bus drivers. From Cavan, there's a bus going every hour from Cavan to Dublin. They'd be getting, because obviously that bus driver could be doing 2 runs a day, 3 runs a day. He could be doing the Cavan to Dublin bus at 7:30 in the morning. Then he could go up to Dublin, have an hour break basically, and be told then he has to drive a bus from Dublin to Dundalk, and then maybe from Dundalk back to Cavan. So basically, he would have 3 or 4, uh, you know, routes to run basically. So basically, he'd be walking nearly a full day. Like a school bus driver, doesn't doesn't have that, because obviously you only pick up the kids in the morning and when school's over. So basically, that's only about 4 hours, and you drop them off. So and not to mention too, I even remember a few school bus drivers I knew. There was a huge last year, particularly, or the year before that too. There was a huge issue with Gowden Fetid. Uh, it was a huge issue because there was huge delays in the Gowden Fetid program. Because obviously they need to get Gowden Fetid every year. Like literally every year they need to be Gowden Fetid. And to have to do so many training courses, it's all just bureaucracy, to be asked, to be totally honest. Like, it is important to be Gowden Fetid, of course. But particularly what these bus drivers go through was a lot of shenanigans, basically. Because it went on for a few weeks and they weren't able to drive the bus, etc., etc. That was the situation that arose. Because the Gowden Fetid didn't come through in time. But thankfully, it doesn't seem to be an issue now. But basically, it's a lot of effort and it's a lot of responsibility, because it is a lot of responsibility, particularly for primary school children. It's a very big responsibility because anything happens, you have loads of children in the back. It's not like an only CIE bus, an only bus, Dublin bus, where the majority of people are adults or teenagers, etc. So the majority of people in the school buses obviously are young adults, teenagers, children. And it's a huge responsibility. There is a food, like I suppose we call it the food bank, but the majority of the people, as far as I'm aware, like they do get their meals. The council do provide them with their meal, etc., because they are in emergency accommodation. Majority of people are who are classified as homeless. Like they're in an apartment. There's a few apartments in Cavan that are given to people that are in need like that. Now there was a food like not specifically known is the an organized one, I suppose you would call it. There was a fake kind of one that I suppose it's anybody's guess because nobody can actually figure it out. It's hard to describe, but basically it's the same thing as I said before. With people claiming to be from a charity and they're not, it doesn't exist. So that happened a few months ago. Around Christmas time, before Christmas time, there was people collecting money for a cavan soup kitchen. And I never seen a cavan soup kitchen. I nobody ever seen it, but there was money being collected for it back then in December. So I don't know. And I looked into it at the time, and nobody said it was a real thing. So I don't think so. Like there's obviously St. Vincent de Paul. St. Vincent de Paul is in Cavan. There's a St. Vincent de Paul. So they would be classified really as the food bank, like the food bank, because they bring food every. I think it's every week the people need too. Some people that are struggling, really struggling. But I don't think there's a soup kitchen because again, I'm sure if you ask anybody in Cavan, they will remember that. Because there was a lot of people scratching their heads, like where's any pictures? There's nothing online saying, here's the soup kitchen outside the town hall. Take for example, you come along if you're homeless or in need, and we'll give you a free meal, or we give you this, we give you that. There was none of that basically. So the money basically and the people just disappeared, and there hasn't been an award since December. So I presume it's just one of those things that happened. So I don't know. I can't answer you on that, but when I inquired about it, many other people inquired about it, there was no such thing. And particularly, you have to remember too, and I did look into it even back then, there was no registered, because obviously you're classified as a charity. There was no charity under that name too, the Cavan Soup Kitchen. So I suppose the answer is a long-winded answer, but I suppose not really. It's if it's Nepal, that would be the food bag, Yeah, like as I said to you, it's insane that nobody's putting two and two together. Like it's obviously not the main cause. There's other causes. Um, like obviously developers too being greedy. It's all to do with greed too, I suppose, and it's all to do with money, because there's huge money being made by the politicians, by the people at the highest level. Not by the only Joe, but by the politicians. There's huge money being made. Um, and that's the thing. And the only Joe is suffering. But yeah, like it is. It's sad to see, but the only thing I hope, like that is in Cavan, particularly in Monaghan, obviously Cavan has a bigger population than Monaghan. It's true in that, but I hope to we can keep it at least stable in some way. We don't let it go out of control. Like at the moment, it's bad. I will admit that it's bad. 27 people in Cavan and Monaghan, the two counties put together. It's not obviously not as bad as Dublin or into that, but still at the same time, nobody should be really homeless or have no place to call home, a roof over the head. But they do have a place, but it's not their place. It's only supposed to be emergencies, temporary, basically. It's a sad thing to see, but So this is fuck off Irish Examiner. So obviously it hasn't been the best summer, to be totally honest. It's been miserable. Like it's generally been miserable this summer. Like it has been miserable. There's only been a few good days where there was actually some decent weather. The rest of it's just been fucking miserable. Like literally in Finland, they got better weather. In Finland, I literally got a suntan in Finland. Let that sink in. In a country that in a few weeks' time be literally 50 feet of snow, basically. And the West, this basically the most shittest weather. Like the last year's summer was really, really good with some good, great days, but this year's one has just been awful. To be totally honest. So, and then obviously they're saying this climate change, yada 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 yada. But I thought that the world was getting warmer. This, but it's you can't question science. We get to the obviously the thing I was talking to you about, Fiona, on the thing. We get to that. It's a long-winded explanation. What that says, So I want to talk about this. So this was in Clonus in County Monaghan. So you probably know anybody that's for. I don't know if anybody knows Clonus that well. I don't know if anybody really is familiarized with Clonus or knows it that well. So this is Superfile in Clonus. You probably often heard of it. So this is I don't know what you would call this road. It's out by the fire station. Fire station's down there. Leighton's shop is there. So basically, this person jumped. I don't know really what to call it. Like, there's multiple things wrong here. So first of all, there's a level crossing here. Second of all, he's parking the double yellow line. Obviously, you shouldn't be parking the double yellow line. Second of all, he just left the car like on the footpath, halfway out the road, and went into the shop to do his shopping. To be totally honest with you, this is one of the worst the kind of traffic things I've seen in a while. To be totally honest, because there's multiple things you could fine him for, like being parked far too close, literally on a level crossing. You could park him for disrupting traffic because he's basically stuck out in the middle of the fucking road. You could park him you can fine him for disrupting, the payment because the payment's not there for him to drive on. And then obviously the double yellow line, you could probably hit it with a few more fines. But I never seen the like in a long time. But this is atrocious. To be done, I wouldn't mind if he was actually parked somewhere decent. But the fact of the matter, this is atrocious. Like it just generally is atrocious. This is this. Like, and I wouldn't mind. There's a car park just not actually just even just on this side. There's a car park in there, and this is the parking. Like I would love to see who give him a driver's license. To be totally honest, like who give this man a driver's license and said he can drive like this. Because this is the way he parked, just to say the guards or anybody didn't move it. This is what happened. Because the only how I know this, because many people said videos online about it. It was insane. Like there was people literally going by, just literally looking at it. Like, why is all the cars being chock-a-blocked? Because they couldn't get around. There was only one-way traffic because the car was literally blocking this side of the road. And then obviously somebody called the guards, and that's what happened. But I don't know really what to say about this one, but long story short, I have no sympathy. We should he should probably generally lose his license because if this is the way he thinks is good parking or acceptable, I wouldn't want to see if he was driving on a motor or something like that because it's quite dangerous. But I never seen the like of it. Hello, Tony. But generally never seen the like of it. Yeah, Mike Tyson Pro. Yeah. But no, I like you seen it there. Like I don't know what was I. I don't know who it was, but but whoever it was, shouldn't have a license. I think we can all agree on that. Like nobody knows really who it was. Like there was people there, obviously, but the majority of people just seen the cow, like literally they couldn't get by the cow. So I don't think the seen the person particularly. Um, so I don't know. Yeah, he's some big job in America and England, isn't it? Um, Now, some sad. So obviously, we all knew like there was sexual abuse happening in religious schools back in the day. Now, I don't think anybody, even myself, could have thought it could have been as bad as the reports are saying. Obviously, we knew it was quite bad because obviously there was, and I will say there was sick bastards in the Catholic Church, etc. As a priest, there was some good priests, of course. There's always good people, but there was a lot of evil people who abused the position of power to abuse young boys and abuse young girls, and it happened, and we can't really deny it. Um, but it's it, it's very astounding to see the amount of people, particularly some of the poor reports of people in later life, children that were abused, sexually abused, etc., etc. When they went to school, when they got to the 30s and 40s, they took their own life, etc., etc., over the shame of it, over the trauma, I suppose. Because again, when you experience something like this as a child, it doesn't leave you. Let's put it that way. And to be totally honest, these priests and nuns, even too, generally should burn in hell. To be totally honest, for eternity, uh, because they use the position of trust, um, and they use the position as a spokesperson of God. And I suppose that's what a priest and a nun is, spokesperson of you know, the, the Christian faith, of the Lord Jesus Christ, etc., etc., etc. And they abuse that position um, to commit evil. And I suppose that's the word to use. It's pure evil. Um, it's Satanism, I would nearly go as far as saying. But long story short, if any of these priests are still alive, etc., obviously there should be no there should be no sympathy for them. There should be no um, basically what I'm trying to say, the harshest possible punishment to be put on them, because it is very harrowing when the reports are only really coming out now, but it's in the thousands that we know of. Again, it's going to be instances that we never knew, but it is sad to see that this happened. And I suppose it's been something that's always been pushed under the rug and forgotten about. But it does have to be addressed, and it does have to be discussion. As I said, years ago, people didn't talk about things. A lot of elderly people now and stuff like that are opening up to things they experienced 30, 40, 50 years ago. Because back in the day, it was really just get up and get on with it, etc., etc. And it didn't help anybody. People lived and lost their sons, their daughters, etc., etc. Parents during that time, and nobody talked about anything. They all bottled it up, and they never discussed anything. And obviously that must have been extremely tough because they always, because again, as I often say, a problem shared is a problem halved. Um, but that was the tradition years ago, that nothing was ever talked about. It was all uh, nothing was ever said. And I do think we live in the world now, which is it's a good thing that people do speak about their problems, etc., etc., and particularly when they experience traumatic events in their childhood, and stuff like that. It's important that it gets out, and it's important that um, they can find some kind of solace and some kind of peace, um, in knowing that the truth and the justice prevailed. And I think that's the most important thing. But we touch on this again at some point. But yeah, obviously there's much more to be said about it. Um, yeah, because years ago there's many things that happened and stuff. People never talked about it. I remember my father and stuff like that telling me about people that he knew in his when he grew up, etc., etc., losing children in horrible accidents, etc., etc. And their fathers and mothers would never talk about it. They never would address it, even though deep down it must have fought every day. But none of them ever talked. They never expressed it. They never let anything out. They never expressed emotions. And obviously, from the inside out, it would generally kill you for not releasing that, I suppose. And at least the good thing about nowadays, people do release it and speak about it, because bottling it up and pretending it didn't happen and brushing it under the carpet and stuff like that. Basically, people live very sad, uh, depressive lives, and that's really what it caused, because people were depressed when things like that happened. The tradition was just get up and get on with it and forget about it. And, you know, so many elderly people had to experience that. And, it's good to kind of get it out. Um, because again, as I said, particularly when something, I know myself from experience, mental health experience, getting, it's hard to sit down and say, you look, this happened to me when I was younger, this occurred, I am experiencing this thought, or this traumatic effect happened. It's very difficult to get them forced words out of your mouth. It's generally very difficult, even particularly nowadays. When I was experiencing mental health troubles, the most difficult thing was to say, I need help. It's a simple few words, but it's something that many people won't say. That them simple words, I need a hand, I need help, I need to talk, even. Um, it's a very difficult thing. But as soon as you say that, and as soon as you get your problem out there, it's like it really lifts the weight off your heart. It doesn't solve the whole problem, but you can find some solace and some kind of peace in it. And I think that's the most important thing. Yeah, but again, it was horrible abuse some people had to put up with back years ago. And they shouldn't have to put up, because at the end of the day, a lot of what the carry on, etc., that happened, um, it was just pure evil. Basically. There's no really words to describe about that. Um, um, so Dublin City Council have put basically a banned like plastic bags. So if you see here, so this is the most common thing, obviously in legal Dublin, etc. Even just lifting the bags of council when we're doing the bins, etc. Even just lifting, we usually leave the bags along the side of the street. And majority of the time, the bags are like not so much in Cavan. You have seagulls, but birds and rats, different animals, badgers, foxes, will tear at the bags, etc. If you leave them out, because there's bits of food, etc. And these boys want it, and that's what's happened. So the good thing is that they're not. The Dublin City Council have banned it. So basically, you can't have a bag like this out in Dublin City now. Basically, which is a good thing, because again, uh, it's not the birds and animals' fault, to be totally honest, because they see the bag and they smell food. They want it, etc. So this is what happens. This is what causes the biggest mess, as you see here. There's been huge messes like this. I've seen myself personally from animals that literally have torn the bags open and everything just blew everywhere. So as you can see here, this is just one of the many. Everything just blows everywhere. Um, so that's why it's better to have a plastic container that they can't get in at it. They can't open the lid or anything. That's why bins are good, of course. Like with lids on it, particularly that you have to lift it up, because a seagull can't lift up a bin. So like you see here, you can see this is a great example. Like you see this only plastic bag, like he's literally put his beak through it, and you can see the Burger King and all the stuff coming out. And eventually there'll be more animals that will come, not just him, more other animals, even rats. It could draw rats too, because the rats that smell the food and they come along. Because again, rats wouldn't be anywhere if there wasn't any food. They would move on if there was no food. So this is a huge thing, obviously, and obviously it's good uh, that we're making progress on this. That it shouldn't be a thing in our capital city, and hopefully the same across the whole country. Because there's some businesses in Cavan that does this. Now, over the last few years, they have improved. We'll give it, it's improved very good. A lot of businesses have used the bins now, great, to a great extent, to putting the rubbish out for the bin men, etc., etc. They wouldn't just leave the bags out. Before they would leave them out, but now a lot of businesses have loaned. So in fairness, they have loaned in cavan. There's one or two that might do it still, but it's mainly really at this stage, like tiny towns groups and stuff like that. They pick up loads of rubbish and they leave it there for the cats to collect, and obviously something not happens overnight. But that's mainly the thing. And obviously, legal Dublin itself, people just fuck the bags out, and then these, like, not seagulls particularly in cavan, but crows, magpies, even rats, mice. I've seen it myself. I've seen literally rats. I've lifted bags up. They literally had rats in them. They had mice in them. Dead mice. I've seen it all basically. Um, like many times I've lifted up a bag and the mouse would come out of a small hole at the bottom of when I'm about to, we bag it, I suppose. That's what we would call it. So basically, if I came across a situation, you wouldn't just lift that bag up basically. Because basically, the majority of the times, 99.9%, particularly when there's loads of holes, the majority of it would just come straight out the bottom because basically it'd be just fucked. So you would bag it, first of all. You would get a bag, a black bag particularly, and we bag it. And, majority of the time, sometimes the rats, particularly not so much rats, sometimes there'd be rats, of course. But the majority of the time it was field mice. Because obviously there was bits of food, bits of McDonald's, bits of this, bits and that, and they smelled it. And, these bags are so easy to break into plastic bags. They just nibble at it a bit, and you see particularly seagulls, they can just put the beak in it and break it in a second, and then you see the big mess they can leave afterward. Yeah, the seagulls particularly are very vicious. There's obviously not seagulls in cavan, but birds, like even the crows and stuff like that. Yeah, foxes do badgers too. I've seen videos and stuff of badgers tricking at things. Because again, the animals are hungry. They want an easy source of food, Because majority of animals, why hunt when you can get something basically for basically nothing, in a way, I suppose. But particularly, it's bad. Not even if it wasn't a mouse or a rat, for example, it'll draw the rats. That's what it draws rats is rubbish, etc., etc. When they smell food, when they know there's a dirty environment that they can get food in, that's what draws the rats and mice. That's what draws it. If there's no food, the mouse and the rats would move off. The same majority of wild animals, if they don't get food, they would go away, move off. They never would come back. Because why would they come back when they don't get any food? Because that's the main thing they want, is food. Yeah, but this is particularly in Dublin now. The plastic bags, like as I showed there, you can't put that. In the first place, should never been really allowed. So you would have to have it in the bin, etc., etc., which is a lot better. Obviously, if you close the bin, it's a lot better too. But majority of time, obviously, majority of animals can't just lift up the lid. So that's the good thing. Um, Now, the good thing about some of the bins, like obviously public bins, are not the most ideal either in Ireland. Um, the public bins in Finland, too, you have to put your foot to the bottom of it. Basically, like an only bin you have in your house. It's basically step on it to put your rubbish in, which is a great idea because obviously the boards won't open it unless they snap on the bottom of it. That's obviously the better kind of public bin to use than the only black bins you would see. 8 yeah, but not even that. There's often been situations I've come across that literally there was no food. It's just the smell, because even though you had a McDonald's, you ate everything that was there. It's the smell. They still will smell it, and they'd be like, food. They won't know anything, and then they obviously tear open the bag and be like, "There's nothing here." So they would just smell it, even though you have everything ate. They still would smell it. That's the thing. Because again, they have good senses. They have good smell. Yes, there's no one that something's about. Uh, Now, time to move on to the Finnish issues. Uh, so, I don't really know what to say about this. But first of all, everybody's literally talking about it. That literally nobody's there with them. like nobody literally wants to sit anyone near her. First of all, I don't really know what she's trying to achieve here, or what she's trying to do, because it is generally very sad, and many people pointed out that literally nobody's there talking to her. Basically, it's pretty sad. You're down bad, basically. But it's generally pretty sad. Um, and supposed to be the happiest country in the world, just to say. If this is happiness, if this is peak happiness, I don't really what to tell you, but you know, um, it's miserable, so anyway, but this just sums up basically this woman in a nutshell. Um, like I don't know what was the point in taking this photo, because particularly because I wouldn't mind if people around her, literally nobody, and nobody wanted to do so. Maybe you shouldn't cut stuff, but I don't know. I will get to the. No, but she looks very odd, basically. They are. But I talk about the OT article. But basically, there's more of disinformation. So the truth is a bit disinformation. So basically, the budget in Finland happened this week, to put it straight. So the True Finns have come out with this, saying that they half the price of petrol at the gas tank, because basically they had to come up with some bullshit. But long story short, to put it nicely, in the summer of 2020, fuel was much cheaper under Sanna Marin's government. So, basically, the True Finns have been misinformation, if you don't answer. Disinformation. Quite literally, it's cheaper in every sector. Now, obviously, the True Finns are coping up and fierce about this, that they can't even get this. Because basically, the only thing they could say, like, imagine that the budget, that fuel is a bit cheaper, that it's a few cents cheaper. But long story short, it was literally euros cheaper in litres under Sanna Marin's government. So the cope is real, because literally they were all excited. The True Finns, we're doing well in the election. We're going to do well and all that. And this kind of didn't go well. And it even got community notice, not so much here now. It was a big community note saying this is actually false. Fuel prices in Finland have gone up dramatically over the last few months. There was a community post on there, so basically they're spreading disinformation. Because quite literally, this is disinformation, because it's actually the truth. I've looked into it. It actually is the truth. That the majority of the time when Sanna Marin was in government, fuel really stayed the same. There was a few jobs here and there, but nothing too serious. Now it's just off the charts, basically. It's wet down a bit. Not by much, but by a bit, basically. But it's nothing like this, basically. They were basically getting it for little to nothing compared to the prices of today, So the true coping Finns are out. So no, but I explain, because first of all, it's totally 100% fake. Like, it is a Russian organization, the OT. It's 100% fake, and I show you the evidence now on how it's 100%. Because you have to remember, this leader, the True Finns, she's not much of a joke. Basically, you might take politicians to she's no joke, really, to be totally honest. When it comes to immigration, as tough as nil you could get the True Finns, to be totally honest. Because the same woman, literally a few years ago, was like the best solution to foreigners in Finland was rounding them up and putting them in a certain chamber, and that's literally what she said a few years ago. That's literally what she said. So that's literally what the leader, the deputy prime minister of Finland, said, that the best solution to have foreigners in Finland is to round them up and put them in a certain chamber. And she literally said that, like she literally quoted Hitler in saying what needs to be done. And not to mention the True Finns, they're not the nicest people to be interacting with. Considering the Speaker of the House, who I met in the Finnish Parliament, some stuff he said too is pretty fucked up. Whatever, not letting foreigners into your country, that's fair enough. But literally saying that we should literally massacre them in some regards, is beyond me, because literally that's what they're actually suggesting in some of the language they use. So to put it nicely, the budget didn't go well. So they've cut more stuff, time to cut, basically. So they're cutting more courses, etc. So basically, the Minister for Finance, the Deputy Prime Minister, has basically said, because the national debt, just to say, is the highest in Finland's history. Basically, she's basically just said, fuck it. It's time to cut everything. Fuck yous all, basically. So, long story short, she's literally said it's up to the next government to sort it out. So basically, they fucked everything over, and that. So it's great. It's not busting. And not to mention, this came out too. So this post is went viral across Finland too. Like literally, they said Finland survived the coronavirus pandemic, the lockdowns, etc. And literally, as it says here, we'll not survive this government. Because people just literally have lost it altogether with the True Finns, etc. The national coalition. Because literally, the Finnish economy is in the worst state has actually ever been in history. So I don't know how they achieved it, but they've done it. But basically, and I think that the post underneath it says, no, I don't have it with me actually. It might be here somewhere. The shoes. Where was the post? There was another post. It's above. It might be above. No, it isn't. But long story short, this is the sentiment, I suppose, now at the moment in Finland, that it's like the majority business. I said to you before, they cut the businesses allowances, etc. So a lot of businesses we opened, 97% of the businesses after the COVID lockdowns, etc. We opened the small businesses. Now they're shutting in record numbers. So basically, the West has fallen, to put it nicely. It's just a mess. But I'll explain to you now. Just give me 2 seconds, because it actually seemed to be washing disinformation. What I gather, because you have to remember, the Interior Minister, the person in that post, is on leave. She's on leave because her son is sick. So how could she come along and say, we're going to do this when she's on leave? Because she's literally on leave. So the Russian state media basically suggests that she's come out and said it when she's literally on leave, and I can prove it now in a second. Give me a second. But she's literally on leave. Like literally a few weeks ago, she's done a big press conference, and the whole True Finns are quiet and all the rest. It's just basically a big coping session. But basically, how could she be, coming out with this when she's literally not even technically the minister now, and she won't be for another 4 months. So it is straight up, because what the Russian government have said, she's killed a day with it. Like specifically the other day, when literally here we are, the Interior. So this is the Interior Minister along with the True Finns. So she's literally stepped aside for 4 months, and there's rumors that she could take 6 months or 7 months, because her child is seriously ill. It's very bad, basically. Also, this is just up and down Finland. 500 jobs cut here, another 2,000 jobs. So basically, this is just non-stop. Every company's getting rid of 500 jobs in one. Like the other day was 1,000 jobs somewhere. So basically, the West has fallen. So it's not going well. But long story short, how could she come out with this thing with the Indians if she's not the minister now? Like there's another person, the Minister of Transport is over her department. So she's not even technically, she's technically on sick leave, technically. So how could she come out with a big statement? And she's not even there, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. So you get what I'm saying. So I think it's the Russians. And a lot of people do, because the Finnish media would be covering, like Kial would be covering it. Like they generally would. Because at the moment, even some, I think there was an Estonian MP, member of the Estonian parliament, said that like the Finnish government at the moment is the most racist government he's ever seen since the Ku Klux Klan or something like that. He's something like that. Like he's basically just saying it's the most racist government imaginable to everybody. Like they literally hate everybody, basically. In fairness, this woman here literally hates herself, along with hating every Finnish person, because she generally just doesn't give a shit, and it's just out for total anarchy. If you really want to say, because she generally just does not care about Finnish people, and she generally and particularly the quote that she came out with a few years ago, with rounding people up, very, I find it very hard because again, this is literally her boss, the leader of the True Finns, the person that's literally born in the country down as we speak. I find it hard that the Interior Minister would dare, particularly because this woman here has abused journalists and stuff in the past. I find it hard that this woman here would say, "Let's take in 300,000 Indians." I find it hard this woman here, because I'll show you the proof now, would allow it to happen. Particularly now with the budget too, they've literally done something that really have shown that it is disinformation. What was said, because it is truly disinformation. Because why I know that too, because the whole Finnish media would be talking about it. Because even like last year and this year, I know last year, yeah, so this year and last year basically. The way they have berry pickers and stuff like that, they pick what they call berries in Finland. They pick strawberries, particularly during the summer months. Long story short, a lot of people wouldn't allow to come to Finland this year to pick berries from other countries because there's huge tightening immigration laws over there. So that's what I said. Yeah, well, no, I do think it is. Like, in this case, I actually do think it is. Because what I presume they're trying to do, because there's no really evidence behind it to suggest that you're doing it. I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe them, especially when she's literally not even there and they're claiming that she said it, and she's not even there. Basically, she's not even there. She's nowhere to be found. She's literally left the scene because her son's sick. So how could she make a statement saying there's 300,000 Indians coming when she's not even the minister at the moment, actually? You get what I'm saying? So it does seem to be, particularly because it's only RTE, like not RTE, RTE, Radio Television, like the Russian state media, basically, the OT, that's saying this. Like there's no other, like the Finnish media, nobody from the Finnish media have said anything basically about it. And if it was, they would generally be out talking about it. And I'll show you now some tweets. Literally, the leader of the True Finns has come out with. Particularly because now, when you see this, because what they've passed in the budget is truly something to be. What we really should do here, but I get into the whole lot of it now in a second. But long story short, the leader of the True Finns, doesn't care for people coming from other countries. I'll try and get the article now, just a wee second. Because, so the budget was yesterday and today in Finland, just under the line. Just to explain it to you. So the budget was yesterday in Finland. Obviously, everything's been cut, basically. They put it lightly, that's just the way. And basically, she's basically said, fuck everything. It's time to cut everybody. It's basically time to kill everybody at this stage. But long story short, I suppose better to show you, because it actually is the truth of what they've done. So it doesn't add up, basically. If you put this together along with what the OT is, the Russian media is claiming, 2 and 2 doesn't add up, basically. Let me see, because literally she made tweets. Like some of the tweets too, it's insane. Where the fuck is them? Oop, that's my thing now. Pig gilly. But I generally do think in this situation that whatever they tried to achieve, it seems to be, untrue. Because considering that she's not even there, the Interior Minister, so like that's one for. So where the fuck is this thing? I wouldn't mind, but I was looking at the earlier one. So yeah, here we are. So what I presume is the Russians are trying to kind of try to be put into Finland in a way. So they passed this yesterday, the thing. So the refugee quota, so basically it's the lowest ever in Finland's history. So at the moment in time, they're saying about 1,000 people, 2,000 people that might take in, basically. So basically nobody's coming as a refugee to Finland. because they won't accept them. They're not allowing them in. It's simple as that. And if you do get in, you basically get nothing. Basically, the limited amount of things ever. So basically, if you're legal in Finland too, you basically get fuck all too. Development aid. So the Finland's development aid was 500 something million every year. Or it was 500 something. It was loads of money. Basically, it's gone down from huge figures. Basically, like to Africa, etc., etc. It's basically barely a billion now. So compared to it was billions and billions beforehand. Now it's basically not. It's basically gone, cut. They cut by literally 90%, to put it nicely. Integration's been cut for organizations like NGOs and stuff like that. So basically, they've just cut everything. So it doesn't add up to let's bring in 300,000 Indians when considering that they literally won't allow anybody really in at the moment. Considering last week only 50 people turned up to seek asylum in Finland because nobody's getting any money. Basically, if you went to seek asylum as a refugee, you basically get fuck all. They're not going to give you anything. Like they're going to treat you like dirt. And not to mention that it's not guaranteed you get into it in the first place. And as you see here, this is literally what they've done in the budget. So basically, what they've said too, this added up. They've saved nearly 200 something billion, 200 something million in all this because they won't be given any, half of the asylum seekers and stuff won't be getting anything. Basically, they just have to leave basically Finland because they won't be given any money. So as I say, the refugee code is extremely low. Like the Irish government would be afraid of it if they seen it. So it doesn't add up because literally if you ask this woman, she would say what she really wanted to do with people. But, it doesn't add up. Oh, the Social Democrats. Oh, no. Holly Collins. What can we do? But, no, it doesn't add up. I'm sure you would agree, Aaron. It doesn't add up, particularly because this woman, in fairness to her, she doesn't fuck around. Like, she did say before the elections that, we'll get rid of the debt, etc., etc. Like, we'll stop the debt, etc., etc. Like, they already expanded it. But basically, this woman is insane, to put it straight to you. Especially when you see this. Especially because the deputy prime minister literally going around saying fucking bastards, basically. What to limit immigration in many ways because it causes the fucking problem, etc., etc. So, it doesn't add up particularly. It doesn't add up because, again, this is the Interior Minister's boss. This is her boss. This is who she reports to. And particularly because, again, the Prime Minister of Finland at the moment, to put it nicely, he's a weak fucking bitch, to put it nicely, in the nicest possible terms. Because basically this woman here is the Prime Minister. Like, she's the one wearing the trousers, basically. She's generally the one calling the shots here. It's not the man, or whatever you got, he's not the Prime Minister, basically. She is the Prime Minister, technically. Because literally, she's the one that's literally doing all this, basically. So it doesn't add up. If you put 2 and 2 together, Evan and Fiona, it doesn't add up. Particularly because people fail to understand, particularly the mindset of the true Finns. Because there was a mention, particularly in that post, that these are true Finns. I would call them extreme, very extreme. On another level, extreme. I know that word's thrown around a lot, but literally very extreme. Because literally, they've literally bankrupted the country in less than a year and literally have fucked everybody over in every conceivable way. So, and they're fucking everybody, basically. So, and obviously it's time to cut. So, that's the main thing to take out of it. It's time to cut. But you get what I'm saying. So it doesn't add up to that because I don't agree, and whatever, because I don't think they understand the deputy prime minister. Obviously, I understand her a lot, particularly from what you can gather by what she's saying. When you look into what she said before and what she's saying now, there is no way in hell she would allow 300,000 Indians turn up. There's no way in hell. She literally, this is the same people that didn't what really they do what to us. Like the True Finns have actually come out and said, one MEP of the True Finns literally said we don't want any foreign to us. And this is the one that literally dressed like Heimlich Hitler too, just to say. like somebody out of the SS, So when you put two and two together, you kind of understand. And particularly when you have this group in the north of Finland at the moment uh, that literally has Nazi flags, etc., etc., and they're former true Finn supporters. You kind of put two and two together. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know if this is the World Economic Forum. Like, I think it's just fucking anarchy, to be totally honest. What they're trying to do. Like, I don't get it at all. Like, they're not. They're just basically bankrupting everybody, making everybody miserable. Because would you believe, for the last 7 years, Finland's been the happiest country in the world. Now there has been reports, because obviously when the World Happiness Report came out this year, the start for next year, that Finland's going to go from number 1 down to number 10 in less than a year. Just think about that. Because people are not happy. And that's going to be the biggest jump in eons. So basically, Finland, from the happiest country, is going to go down to number 10 in the world. That's what they're suggesting at the moment. And when you see that, that really tells you all that people are not very happy. Because they've literally cut everything. I don't get it with them. So basically, they have. I think we're looking at them. That would be the answer. And we think we're looking at them. Like, these are literally literally the worst. I don't even know. But long story short, this is what she literally said. So basically, she's basically said in 2027, when the election's happening, the next government have to fucking deal with it. Basically, she's basically saying, fuck you all. There's no support for anybody. Basically, there's been no support for anybody. So everybody is left to suffer, because she does not give a shit. So basically, she's basically said they have a plan to limit the debt, etc., etc. Even though it's the highest in Finland's history. So I don't understand that. But basically, particularly when she says the next government, like she literally, like, we're not going to do anything in 2027. Like, literally when she says this, rightly that she's doesn't care to do anything. So literally, she's basically going to leave it because it's 100% guaranteed that is the true Finns are going to be set back into the Stone Age in the next election, and there'll be the Social Democrats and probably the Left Alliance and the Greens in again, because nobody really trusts this woman. Like, I don't know what. Like, I genuinely don't know really what's wrong with this woman. Like, it's just insane. Like, some of the financial decisions she's come out with and some of the things is generally the definition of insanity. When you generally think about it. Well, it's this other day. But long story short, what I'm trying to say, I'm sure you would probably come to the same assumption. Like, this woman here, the Deputy Prime Minister of Finland, will not allow 300,000 Indians in. I can guarantee you that. Whatever about anybody else in the Finnish government, like, this woman here would literally go mad if 300,000 turned up on the doorstep. Because at the moment they're getting a tower to let Westerners in. So whatever, letting people from the third world in, they're not letting any asylum seekers in at the moment. So I find it hard that they're going to clock over 300,000 when literally only about 50 people are turning up to Finland a week to seek asylum. Because basically they be getting literally fuck all. Like, generally they'll probably be only given a sleeping bag and told to sleep in the field somewhere. Because they're generally, on another level. I don't think you understand how on another level they are. Particularly, again, if you look back on what she said in the past, it tells a lot, basically. But I refuse to believe that, that she would sit there and say, yep, 300,000 can come in. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that. Particularly when you see what they've just literally done the other day. They've literally cut the development aid to other countries by, as I say, billions. Integration, like, people to be integrated, the way they have the Department of Integration and stuff here. That's been cut by probably nearly 100%. So basically, it ceases to exist, basically. So, it doesn't add up to, let's bring 300,000 people over, to, this, it doesn't add up, if that makes any sense. particularly as I say, they're literally having the problem with tourists. Like some of the true Finns, literally MEPs, are having a problem with tourists coming to Finland. So when you hear that, you're like, they might have a problem with people turning up to live in Finland because, I generally do think it's the Russians trying to. I know you probably hear it all the time, but in this case, it does seem to be true that because there's no likelihood that, particularly because I don't think they know the Russians how bad the true Finns are. Maybe the Social Democrats and stuff they might be taken back then, but not a hope with the true Finns in power that would happen. Not a hope. Particularly again, if you look back, they had an issue with people coming to pick strawberries for a few months, and a lot of them weren't allowed to come. So when you add that together with this, it paints a picture as well. So I do think it's just like fake. I do think it's fake. Particularly because, again, as I say, the Interior Minister is literally not even there. Like she's literally on sick leave. Should be totally honest. So I don't know what she's take with her. So I don't know if it made any sense. I don't know. It might not be the best argument, but it does seem to be true. Like, definitely they're not going to bring in this many people. Like, whatever but any other government in Finland, definitely the true Finns will not do it. So, but I can guarantee you that from looking at them and literally researching them and watching what they've been doing literally for every day in the last year, I can tell you 100% it's not going to happen. Because they're literally not bringing in anybody at the moment, So, like I wouldn't say it if I knew. Like I can certainly say it, like because I can tell already what they're doing, basically. But I don't get why the Russians were. They're just trying to instoke some kind of fear or something. I don't know, but particularly because again, the Finnish media, if she did come out and say we need 300,000, particularly the Finnish media. In fairness to them, a lot of the Finnish media are very good in calling out bullshit when they see it. They would definitely publish articles saying the Minister for the Interior has come out and said we need this and that. They definitely would. They generally would, especially with a number like 300,000 is a lot. And not to mention the Indians too wouldn't really last too long in Finland because the cold climate, etc. So India is kind of a hot enough country too. But yeah, long story short, but I don't know if that makes any sense. But if you look into it, it kind of makes more sense when you on literally who is in the true Finns, and who she is particularly. Because again, at the end of the day, she is the deputy prime minister, the National Coalition Party, and the Swedish Democrats, and what they call the Christian Democrats. They need the true Finns. Without the true Finns, the government will just collapse. So basically, whatever she says goes. Basically, because without the true Finns, it's gone. The government's collapsed, gone. Yeah. But see, the same, like the problem I'm having with some of the true Finns too, like the MEP, that particular MEP, member of the Finnish Parliament, he's literally crying about tourists come over. Like just to say too, it's really been very good for the Finnish economy in a way because they've got literally 400 and something million, basically from tourism this year alone in Finland, which is really good. It saved a lot of businesses, in fairness. And your man's literally like, we should limit. The way they want passenger caps and stuff like that. You probably hold on. And they want to bring in this and they want to bring in that. But he basically suggested that there'll be only a certain number of flights, tourists and stuff let into the country. Which is insane. It's stupid. Why would you do that, basically? Why would you single-handedly shoot yourself in the foot? Because that's literally what he's outright said. Because particularly when you hear that number 400 and something million they've got, like from tourism, from me going over that time, because I'm not particularly 400 something million, but you get what I'm saying. I spent money in the Finnish economy and stuff. I kept jobs going. If that makes sense. Only for me and people like me that went there, there'd be a lot of jobs probably gone. If that makes any sense, I'm sure you agree. Yeah, like it's very, very fresh. It comes from a reservoir outside Helsinki. Like it's straight up from the ground, basically. So it's the cleanest water in the world. It is. I wouldn't like. I don't know what the truth is now because that river they polluted in Finland is not going too well. Yeah, like it's all natural water. Like it's not purified. It's all from a spring. Like like this, you can see it in Helsinki too. It's about. I went by it when I was on the way to the airport in the taxi. The fare on the taxi said that's where they get the water for the city. Like it's a natural spring or something like that. I was someday if I went beside it. Like you can go around the lake and see where it comes from. But it's very clean. You can see by looking at it. And not even that too. Yeah, it's very clean. Like there's no pollution because there's that many fucking trees. There's 100 and something million trees in Finland or something like that. Like there's generally 100 and something million trees. It's just too much. There's far too much. Basically, there's no carbon dioxide because all the trees are sucking in it. But long story short, just to say what the true Finns are up to now. Oh dear. So basically, long story, what this means is basically, the way the say Ireland has 6 point something billion left over after the budget, or has 40 billion left over after the budget. So basically, this is not bussing. So basically, after the budget this year, they're literally in the negative 12.2 billion. So think about this for a sec. The main purpose of the government, the National Coalition of the True Finns, when they get Santa Mountain, we're going to get rid of the national debt. It didn't go well, basically. To put it straight. Like this is only within a year what they've done. So come back another 4 years, and because they're in a negative, basically, they're still in the negative. So they've cut. Like this is the thing you need to understand about this woman, particularly like the True Finns leader. They've literally cut 10 billion euro, 10 billion. Like in Scotland, they're talking about 500 million euro. That's nothing compared to what the True Finns cut. They've cut 10 billion euro out of public services. 10 billion. Think about that. Like that's insane. And they're talking about cutting another few billion. At the end of the day, what that means is after cutting that 10 billion euro, it basically made no difference because the debt just went up. Like it basically cutting people and extreme austerity, because that's what it is, extreme austerity. Basically has achieved nothing. Long story short. So the whole strategy, let's just cut everybody into the bleed, didn't work out because they're in the negative this year. So basically they're in debt, basically. So the country is fucked. So basically there's a big hole in the finances of 12 billion euro. And counting, just to say. So how did they done this in a year when Santa Mountain was there and they actually had money left over after the budget and stuff like that? Like 20 million. Like when Santa Mountain was there, this is the thing people keep pointing out. When Santa Mountain was there, was 20 billion over the budget, they had 20 billion left over after the budget. So I don't know how they went from we have 20 billion extra to we have 12 billion less, after 10 billion euro in public services. Like, please explain to me what kind of economics they're doing, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, it generally doesn't. Particularly when you see this. Like, the main purpose of them is let's get rid of the national debt. And just it's gone up by 50%. So I don't get it. I generally don't. So, but it's funny that she literally said, fuck it. They can all fuck off into 2027. So just to put in perspective, I don't think people understand about the debt in Finland. Just to put in perspective, I finish, but just bear with me. So basically, this is when Santa Mountain was in government, to put in perspective. the debt was only about 30%. So we're currently here, and the debt has gone up by 162%. So simple economics says it isn't going well, basically, because how has the debt gone from it's 30% to it's gone up by literally 162% in less than a year. How did you manage that? And literally climbing, like keep going, it's going, like it's gone up by 162% in less than a year. Think about that. Like it was here, like when Santa Mountain was in government. It's not ideal, but if you've seen the Irish debt, you probably fit it. This one would generally have a fit, but that's not buzzing. That's what it's trade. 162% like gone up in debt. Like I think this I hate to say it, but I think Finland has fallen. Uh, you know, like just look at that. Just look at where it was and look how far it's come. And that's all within a year. So give them another year, and country be bankrupt. The whole country is bankrupt. So we have no money. Like it's Jova. Like the West has fallen. No, it actually like I can't emphasize how bad it is. I can't emphasize how bad of a job they've done. Like there's literally no words to describe it. Like I generally don't think you understand it because the good thing about it is that I know people from Finland and stuff like that, and I'm talking to them on a regular basis. Particularly, obviously, I'm going back at some stage. So obviously, I'm talking to them on a regular basis about that. And obviously, we're talking about the current situation, etc., etc. So basically, a lot to talk about. And they're telling me firsthand what they see and what they're hearing and what's happening around them. So it's not good, basically. Let's put it that way. Yeah, of course. Again, you can tell us something. Yeah. I missed one of your comments now. I don't know where was it. Oh, yeah, Polish. Yeah, in Iceland. I don't know, but Iceland passed the bill too, though. It's how they get in. Like Iceland has. Well, obviously, you couldn't just turn up with 500,000 people in Iceland because it's only a small country. It's only 300,000 people in Iceland. There's not that many places and stuff like that. And it's only a small island. It's not big. And obviously, with volcanoes and stuff, you couldn't just build houses in the middle of volcanoes. So, and like it's a very small country. Like you think about it, it's only the population of Cavan, Monaghan, and Leitrim. Leitrim doesn't exist, but technically it does. And Lockwood, so very small, really, in comparison with our country. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Same with Greenland. Greenland exists too. As a Danish, not Danish colony, but Danish dominion, technically. Like they're quite happy. I don't think you ever see the Falkland Islands. Apparently, Denmark occupied the Falkland Islands. Fuck off, Argentina and Britain. Denmark has rightful claims to the Falklands, the Faroe Islands. Excuse me. And Greenland. No, like they don't really want to be a part of any. Like they don't want to be independent. They want to be part of Denmark. Like take for example, Greenland couldn't survive on its own without the Danish, government, etc. Like they couldn't do it. They haven't got the. It's only 56,000 people in Greenland. Just take for example. Basically nobody. Basically the whole population. Cavan is nearly 100,000 people, so basically half of Cavan's population. Yeah, it's pretty sad to see now the West falling. But no, when you see that shout, particularly, I think everybody would agree. I keep saying it, and I've said it before the election. And you know what? I was proven right. I genuinely was proven right. And in fairness, as everybody's like literally, as you see all the tweets literally on Twitter now, Literally everybody's coming around to it. Beforehand, maybe they were like, Santa Mountain wasn't the best. She was all right. She wasn't great. But, nowadays, a lot of people are looking back and saying, how we were wrong. How wrong were we, to get rid of them. And not even that. She literally said they would do this. I could pull up tweets here and stuff that she literally said they would do this. And lo and behold, they've done it. So, so they should have listened. So yeah, this tweet too. Now this is very this basically sums up the Finnish government at the moment. So this is the Prime Minister. This is how. Not common that, but but this is particularly interesting because a lot of people are actually coming around to this. This is actually true because at the moment, as I said, there's a Finnish, there's an Estonian MEP basically calling them basically the most basically worse than the KKK. And there's many people literally many governments around the world. I'm sure even a lot of people in the European Union think that they're literally the biggest clowns going. So basically the Finland standing in the world with these lunatics at the helm is not doing too well compared to as it says sovereignly acted. That word alone, sovereignly. Michal Martin would be crying over that, but it is true. He had a good reputation on the world, in the world stage. Finland was very well represented. Well known. At the moment, nobody really knows who this person is, and nobody really cares about them. In fairness to Santa Mountain, she was able to, be a huge powerhouse on the world stage. Let me see. What was this? He translated. Now this might not be 100% correct, but so yeah, basically, what this is basically saying too. Back before Santa Mountain's government, back before he became prime minister, a lot of them were quiet. The National Coalition Party were quiet that Santa had so many assistants, etc., etc. And now he has more assistants than she did. So it doesn't make any sense. And particularly as they point out that he didn't attend some high-level talks in the European Parliament. So basically, he's hiding away. So yeah. Cope. Oh, so let's hear the latest update. What the fuck is that? The fuck are they doing? Yeah, but let's be fair. But in fairness, the current Finnish government have basically nothing to offer. Basically anybody. Nobody talks about them otherwise. Santa Mountain was well known, was well respected. In fairness, was somebody not to be messed with. Basically, at the moment, they're a joke. Basically, the True Finns and the National, they are just generally a joke. How could you take them serious? If that makes any sense. But it's not that. It's just no one of who the prime minister is, etc., etc. Increased Finland stand on the world stage. If that makes any sense. Particularly having a very young prime minister, etc., etc. If that makes sense, that's because it did represent Finland on the world stage, and it was a good representation of Finland. At the moment in time, is not really a good representation of the current Finnish government. Like, if I actually had the right list, I was thinking about writing a list on everything the true Finns in the National Coalition Party, and to be totally honest with you, I still would be here until next week, basically, because it would be probably 500 pages long and everything they've done. So basically, I could write a book because it's just insane. Yeah, and it's not really improving Finland's standing in the budget because people kind of seeing it and like, this is insane. But yeah, long story short, so a lot of economic people, like people in finance, etc., etc. So the budget crisis, so basically it's a huge, as I say, because they're in debt, basically. So they're saying, let's more cut. So basically the cuts didn't work before, it's time to cut again. So basically whatever economic growth there is in Finland, with this budget, they're still kind of working on some of it. Will destroy everything. So basically there'll be nothing left. So yeah, what can you say? And just to say, it's only 443 days. So things are just getting worse, basically. So, please explain to us. Should we all go to Finland? Will we all move to Finland now at the moment? Because, I don't know about that one, Chief. Borrow €1 million? No, you cannot. Ask the true Finns. Now, there was another big crisis in Finland. I know we keep going on, but I can't emphasize how much they're fucking over. Like, the Irish government do this in the way to emphasize how badly they're fucked over. So, long story short, this is like a financial advisor to the Finnish government, basically. So the current one intends to break all records, basically, because basically the debt has got so big, it's literally the highest in its history, just to say. So how they did it, like it's remarkable. Not to mention, this was another big thing that the Minister of Interior of Kuwait turned up. And he demanded really, in a way, like a flag of honor. And the fact of the matter that he got what really he wanted to do, it showed how weak they were, because not only would, if Sanna Marin was there, let's put it that way, because I don't think Sanna Marin was that fond of countries out there, to be totally honest. Particularly because they don't treat women with respect, etc. I don't generally think Sanna Marin would generally want to meet with him or even have anything to do. And I don't think she would appreciate him demanding of another country to do something. I don't know what she appreciates and bow down to his demands. I don't think she would. I think she'd tell him to get lost. But basically, they bend the knee to his demands. As the usual one. But long story short, people in Finland are not very happy that another country came over and basically told them what to do on their own territory. Basically, yeah. So people are not, too pleased about that, and particularly as I say, doesn't look well, because no country should come over and tell you what to do in your own country and what flag to put up in your own country. And as I say, the one professor from University Helsinki, basically, this sums up everybody in Finland at the moment. It's depressing. So this just basically sums up everything. It's just depressing. Because imagine literally the Minister of Interior of Kuwait just comes over here now and demands every building in the country be adorned with the flag of Kuwait, say, for example. It's insane. So that's what happened, so, and they literally bend the knee. No. No good news. There's no good news in Finland. So imagine if I lived in Finland, the moment would just be pure depressing. It's time to cut. It is time to cut. Scout cookies. Oh no! I think the FBI needs to be informed. We need the feds. It's time to stop. I don't think they understand the word stop. Because the fact of the matter is, this is the thing I don't understand. They've cut billions of euro in state funding, etc., etc., and nothing has worked. Basically, the debt has got bigger. And as I said, I showed an article before. You probably remember it well. That all these cuts, this 9 billion euro, 9 point something billion euro in cuts to everything. Basically, long story short, they didn't achieve anything. 0.5% impact on the debt. That's all. 0.5. Basically, just the tiniest drop in the ocean. And they still just barge ahead doing it. It's generally insane. Like, who in the right mind would still proceed with it? Oi, man, so. Well, there's a few more things, actually. But long story short, what am I taking now? Basically, what I talk to about a lot of times about Finland, because I kind of want to know what what I'm getting myself into, I suppose, when I go there. Hmm. Hmm. No, I was just looking. So the what they call let's see. Okay, I'm just waiting up on this for a second. Hmm. See, no, what I'm supposed to reading through. So in Finland, they do this thing every year that everybody's tax records get released. If that makes any sense to the public. Um, when was it? I can put it on the spot. Um, so I was just trying to figure out what date is that, because it's soon enough. It's like last what like no this year's one. Like it's near the end of the year, basically. I'm just trying to figure out the date. It's only clicked on me there, though, but sometime between now and October or sometime. What is this? The 13th. When is that? That was the. Hmm. I suppose we'll wait and see. I don't think it's out yet. I'm just trying to figure that out. Uh, but I don't think it is out. Um, uh, Give me a moment. There's one more thing I have to actually cover on. No, so the Irish media come out and saying let's ban X. Marvels, allegedly. Um, what am I? Actually, no. There's two more things. What am I talking about? Sorry, I'm actually brain dead. It is 8:17 at night. Apologies, everyone. Time. I was actually looking into that because I only clicked in my head when I was here. I sat here and I was like, you know, I completely forgot about this. I should have probably thought of this earlier on. So, you know, oi, oi. Uh, Getting dark. Yeah, the clothes blinds and that. What is this? When is the it was the 8th month last month? It was it? Hmm. Sorry again. Apologies. I'm just reading up on things here. I know I should probably be doing this better time, but I'm just doing it here just to see. I can't figure out something now. But yeah. So how are we doing anyway? Any fun with anybody? Anybody planning anything for the week? And I suppose this is the time to again to be talking. If you have anything to say or anything, when I'm in the middle, like when I'm in between doing something, that makes any sense. But yeah, you can tell it's getting dark. It usually wouldn't be dark at this time. It's only 8:30, not even 8:30. That's already dark. Um, so in a few weeks' time, it'll be dark at 7. Then the Fed should be 6. So it's not going to be great now. Jeez, you're more worried about shampoo. Jeez, everybody talking about shampoo. Yeah, he's in the Ukraine. He's given them 36 million or something like that. One of it is, I don't know. Maybe draw the planets like Earth, the Moon, the Sun, um, Jupiter, Venus. All them. I don't know. Maybe that's just name. But I think that'd be cool, like all online, kind of. Does that make any sense? I don't know what you'd be interested with that, but that just out of the top of my head. Now, I feel sorry for Sana because literally she can't even go anywhere. I don't know if you can see that well, but literally she can't even go anywhere without literally anybody seeing her or noticing her. And then so basically she was at a bar and stuff like that. So basically, people just too much publicity. But anyway, sure, the funniest thing about this place, I was actually at this place, just to say this is a restaurant specifically. Like this is only yesterday. I was at it when I was in Finland. I stopped off for tea in this restaurant, so I know exactly where this restaurant is. And the funniest thing is, I think I was sitting outside because it was baking hot at the time. Not baking hot, but it was sunny. So I probably only sat a few seats down. So that's a sad state of affairs. So if it would have been a different month and a different different month in the same year, you know, cope. Yeah, well, I suppose whichever. I suppose. Cope. What was it again? There was something I meant to talk on. Am I stupid? Possibly. And not just me. Excuse me. Excuse me. The people who stalk Santa's the true Finns, like they just never shut up talking about them. Like literally, the current government in Finland every day of the week, Santa Mountain, this, Santa Mountain, that. Like literally, full on just in cope mode, because they literally like people are pointing out, how Santa Mountain was able to do this, and the current government cats with literally the coping all the time. Like literally every day of the week, they're blaming Santa Mountain, even though the woman's literally gone. As you've seen with the graph, I don't know if we hear the time, but the graph. The debt wasn't that high when Santa Mountain was there, but when the true Finns got in the power, the debt went up by 162%. With a true Irish party, if they're anything like the true Finns, I don't think so. Because I don't fancy the country being won into the country's already been won into the ground, but I don't fancy I don't fancy people literally getting nothing. So basically, people literally dying of cancer, get €20 a week, basically. There you go. That's literally what's happening in Finland at the moment. Like Finnish citizens, I'm not talking about people that's just turning up out of the blue. Like literally Finnish citizens that have been there all their life. Like literally, they cut the pension, people's pensions, etc. And they cut they basically cut everything. Not to mention drugs, like drug schemes and stuff to get people off drugs, and drugs are on the way. But basically, let's put it this way: everything's fucked. So if there's ever a true Irish party and act like the true Finns, it's fair to say I won't support them. Because literally the true Finns are just a great example of how you should not run a country. Because because the true Finns came along. Because I don't know why. Like basically what they did with the small businesses when Santa Mountain was in government for a long time. They done it in Finland. They had like basically subsidies from the government to help small businesses employ people, etc., to run the businesses. Because business pay high tax, etc. So basically, as soon as the true Finns came along, it's time to cut. So basically, they came along, and all them business subsidies cut by 50 to 60%. So all them small businesses couldn't afford to survive because the tax went up, had to close, and then obviously loads of people lost their jobs. With some repeat, people lost their jobs up and down. Basically, the true Finns, basically, to put it straight, because they've literally cut everything, so they made everything worse. Not to mention, what they did too was one of the worst things they could have done. They took out some too big loans from the European Union. Now, you're probably like, what's the problem there? Because every country does that. Now, this is the thing. They took out 2 big loans with huge interest rates. That's not going to be paid back for years. So they completely just fucked themselves, basically, in every conceivable way. And not to mention, just they've cut everything. So everything's just fucked. So basically, there's less businesses in order, and there's less people paying tax, businesses paying tax into the economy. Basically, I could write an essay on it, basically. You could really write an essay. But basically, they came along and said, it's time to cut. And that's what happened. Everybody's livelihoods were just miserable. Like that's what happened. The main concern of them at the time when Santa Mountain were facing against Santa Mountain, we're going to get rid of the national debt. If you look to the thing I showed you earlier on, it's gone up by 162% in less than a year. And in 448 days, it's gone up by 162% in less than a year, the national debt. And they're literally 12 billion euro in the hole this year. So basically, the way in the budget, the Irish government say, we have this many billions left over we didn't spend. We're going to just take that money and one, But basically, so they don't have any money, basically. They have no money left. They're in the negative, basically. So isn't that great? Even though they've cut 10 billion euro in public services, and I say that again, 10 billion euro. And they want to cut 15 billion euro now, so they just want to keep cutting, even though it didn't work before. But long story short, it's just the biggest mess ever. Oh yeah, Alexander. Alex. What do you call? I know who you're talking about. Yeah, in the AOC of the Capitol steps. Even though I don't think he should be judging the woman on her, backside or anything, whatever, but her performances, and stuff like that in politics, I don't think he should be, probably addressed in that way to be done answer. If that makes any sense. Whatever, but if he doesn't like her policies or anything, but I don't think he should make personal kind of commentary. That makes any sense. I know it's kind of all for fun and games. You might recent state, but like the country was already going into the hole when they came along. Like literally, the truth ends. Like the only thing she can do is it's time to cut. That's the thing. Like she's just obsessed. Like she literally this is the thing. This tells you all you need to know. She literally calls herself the Minister of Sitters. Not the Minister of Finance, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Minister of Sitters. Like literally that's what she's calling herself. And she calls the Ministry of Finance the Ministry of Sitters. So that really tells you all you need to know, that they don't never really intend to ever have an economy. They just really want to cut everything. Like that's literally what she said. Like literally out of her own mouth, she's said it and put it out in tweets that literally this is the Ministry of Sitters. And that people can literally drink water with the vending machine. Like that's literally what she has said. Yeah, like literally this, like it's up in the community post. Like it's not a parody, it's actually the truth, like what she said. Like the Ministry of Sitters. Like imagine Micheál Martin, I suppose, is the Taoiseach, the Deputy Prime Minister, coming out and saying, we're going to cut everything. So basically, Sean, you're going out and working 40 hours a week. Do you know what we're going to do? You're going to pay double the tax. You're going to pay more tax than you ever did. Right. You be expecting, right, what am I going to get in return? Am I going to get, better public services? Am I going to get better public transport in my area? Right. Am I going to get, a bigger pension maybe when I retire, etc., etc.? Micheál Martin would be like, no. We're just going to take all that money in the pension and give you fuck all. Like, literally, people have worked all their life in Finland at the moment, and they've cut the pension by 30%. So before that, people on the pension might have been getting maybe €600 a week on the state pension, the Finnish state pension. At the moment in time, they're getting barely 200 a week. Just to say that's how bad it's got. Because the West has fallen. Like, that's what literally has happened. Like, it was extremely generous, basically. So basically, people have been fucked in every conceivable way. People that literally worked all their life, just to say, they worked in Finland all their life, and are Finnish citizens, that just really tells you all you need to know. And not to mention, literally people dying of cancer. This is like a sickness scheme for people literally dying of cancer. Don't need a few months or years left to live. They've literally cut that too. So it just goes to show you how like evil thing. Like, they remember the Irish government, I was saying about them, women that had the breast cut off under the breast have special bras. The government covers the expense of them special bras, some of the expense of it. I know that, but can you explain that to her? Because she doesn't seem to understand. Because she's already done it 50 times, And now she's literally like, things are not going well. It's time to cut even more. You know, it didn't work before, so it's going to work again. So it's time to cut even more. But long story short, if there's anything to go by the Conservative government in the UK, do you remember the Conservative, the austerity in the UK, like literally cutbacks everywhere? Yeah, it didn't end well. It never ended well. But the true Finns never understand that. They still don't seem to get it. So, they're all delusion. They're put it in the nicest possible term. Like they generally all are delusional. And the only thing they can ever say is, "Oh, stand them out on this, stand them out on that." Like they're just literally coping all the time. They're literally the coping Finns. Like I just wait there 2 seconds. Like if you see the stream, I don't know if you hear the time, but get the thing. Where was it? Peggle. The West. Hold on. Where the fuck was the thing? Yeah, here we go. So just to put it in perspective, so the debt was at 20%. So this is the debt here. So this was the debt when Santa Mountain was in government, 20% debt or so, give or take. So this is where we are currently, and it's going up as we speak. So the debt has increased since Santa Mountain was in government. So it was at 20%. It's gone up by 162%. So that really tells you all you need to know. Even the cut, the cut everything down to the bone. That's an insane number for a year, less than a year, just to take an example. Just to put, I can't emphasize, like Liz Truss herself couldn't do it. I don't think. Like Liz Truss done a good job with fucking things over, but Liz Truss, I wonder who was advising them. Like generally, Norma Foley must be over there, literally advising them because, it doesn't make any sense what they're doing, But this is like this bit. I showed this earlier on, but I think this is very telling. Deputy Prime Minister and what she takes, because again, this woman's literally wearing the trousers. She might only have to wear as Deputy Prime Minister, etc., etc. But literally the Prime Minister of Finland is too weak and is basically afraid of his shadow. Basically, he's afraid to stand up to her, etc., etc. Basically, he's just kind of not wearing any trousers. Basically, she's wearing the trousers. But long story short, as she says herself, conveniently she says this date when the new measures that they're bringing in and stuff to stabilize the debt ratio in 2027. And what has happened in 2027, you might ask? The election. And what has happened at the moment with the polls? The true Finns are not doing too well. So instantaneously, she's like, there's new government, I have to deal with it. Basically, that's literally what she's nearly saying here. It's not, I'm fucking give up fucking doing anything. It's just time to cut everything. It'd be it's another government's fault. Like the next government have to deal with it. Like this is literally what she says. Like literally, if you're reading between the lines, this is literally what she's saying. That I don't give a shit, and I want the country to run into the ground. It's up to the next government, and this is literally her. Just to say, this is the Minister of Finance, the chairperson of the Finns Party. I suppose she hasn't put the Ministry of Sitters in her title. Because if she got away with it, she probably would. So, a jolly woman, just to say. Very jolly. And the funniest thing about it is I actually never seen her smile. This leader of the True Finns. The only time I've ever seen her smile, and it's very sinister, is when she was literally with the sitters saying time to cut. Literally cutting people's livelihoods. That's the only time I've ever seen her smile, when literally she was cutting stuff. People's livelihoods away. That's very taking of it is actually fairly sinister. That's the only time I ever seen her smile in her life. When she's literally cutting people's wages. It's very, very sinister. Like, it's all very sinister. Well, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I generally rather Liz Truss. If I could choose, I think I would take Liz Truss instead of the Truth Ends, please. Because it's not bussing. But anyway, I think we leave it there for tonight. I was only supposed to be here for a short stream. Imagine that. Didn't go well. I take Nido. Julian's a a choice between somebody literally is going around with sitters and calling herself the minister of sitters. Whatever but Liz Truss. At least she's not going around literally saying I'm the minister of sitters. Because you never know where the sitters could end up, basically. It's very dangerous, them sitters. But anyway, here, thank you everyone for watching. A long stream, so my paycheck coming in for the Social Democratic Party now as we speak. Proudly sponsored by the Social Democratic Party, of course. Yes, pretty much. Well, it's pretty much true. I don't think anybody can really argue. Like, if I showed you, like, you just seen it there, the debt and stuff like that. Like, I said we need to get this woman back in when the election happened. I've said it, and she literally, and this is the thing, if you even look it up, like, this woman behind me literally said everything that we're going to do, that they will destroy the Finnish welfare state, etc., etc. And, long behold, they've done it. They're literally. So basically, everything she said, they have done. So she warned people. She told them they were going to destroy the country, and she wasn't wrong. So at least in fairness, not many politicians can say that. So long story short, it was all with the election. We all know the truth is with the election. We all know it. Oh no, it's the FBI. The FBI asked me. The West has fallen. I always knew the day would come with the FBI again for election. I'm only joking. Allegedly, of course. Just give me 2 seconds. Just want to double check to make sure I have everything. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll be back probably Saturday. And I'll talk to you then. Good night.